Oh, yeah,
That's not a fight, right?
Yeah,
it was ugly in the beginning. It was ugly in the beginning, but it got uglier in the end. And we got to talk about before we get off today. We got to talk about my girl Holly. Took 12 years out of the ring, came back and put tips and feet on this girl.
Oh yeah,
I like that at 43 years old. I love that. We got to talk about all that.
We'll get to it. You know, we will get to
it. But George, back to George. George, like you said, Wilton, George didn't want no more of that whooping. George couldn't mess with that young dude. He didn't want no more. George was cool.
Yeah, that was a bad matchup for him at that particular stage of his career. What's good with you, Todd?
Salute. Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
All right, what's going on? Salute to the last ones at the bottom, man.
Yeah, you too, man. You know, welcome aboard. You know, what you think? Were you watching? You wasn't watching boxing at that time when you had Holyfield and Tyson. Did you? Were you Todd?
Nah, I wasn't deep into boxing at that time.
Oh, okay. Did you ever see that fight though?
Well, Holyfield and Tyson, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what you think about
it? Good scrap, but I think Tyson he didn't like Holyfield's style, and that caused him to get frustrated, and that caused him to get out of character. But you know, in the ring, you know, you got to keep your composure. Like we seen this with a lot of fighters. We seen this with Zab and Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Some fighters just can't keep their composure, then they just get out of character, and that leads to other things. You know what I mean? But
right. Now, this right here, man, we always do like a little topic of the day. I'm a piggyback off something that's going on because we had one of the last heavyweight champions was in the ring on Friday, and I saw this question here. I want to say it was Ring Magazine had the question, but what they were asking is. Let me ask you this question, Ty. How familiar are you with Lennox Lewis?
I see all of his fights, but I just know like his, you know, of course, his one with How Sing Right Mind, you know, Tyson. But now I'm not really familiar with all of his fights, but I do consider him as one of the greats in the heavyweight division.
I'm glad to hear that then. So how would you think that my guy right here, Lennox Lewis, how would he fare against the top 10 heavyweights? Do you think that it'll be a clean sweep? I'm going to start with you, Sheldon. So when you look at Lennox, think about his style and everything, how does he do in today's heavyweight division? Is he wiping the floor with those guys, or would it be some competitive matchups?
Prime Lennox against all these guys?
Yes, sir.
Knockouts. Knock them all out.
Who is his toughest challenge?
Honestly, his toughest challenge would probably be Usyk.
Yeah. Why? Because of the movement?
Probably be Usyk. That'd be the toughest challenge. The rest of them dudes, he's a master pugilist. I'm a master pugilist. He outbox all these guys, knock them out. He knock all these guys out. But Usyk would give him problems because Usyk can box and move. But the rest of these guys, they big, they slow, they get knocked out.
What about you, Vel? I think you high.
Man, high on what?
I'm thinking you high on. I mean, yeah, like Usyk and people like that, but you also high on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is one of those times, man. I agree 110% with what Sheldon said from top to bottom. He's wiping the floor with all of them. And interesting enough, the hardest fight for him, if it even is hard, is Usyk because of the movement and the skill level. And, you know, the rest of them, Lennox at his best, man, he's taking them out, man.
Yeah. What about you? You agree with that, Ty?
Yeah, I think his toughest touch would have been Usyk, but yeah, Lewis was tall. He had the power, the reach. I definitely see them stopping AJ. Because AJ had the best chin, but yeah, I think Usyk probably gave him the most issues. But yeah, I think Lennox would probably take care of all those guys.
Yeah, I think that's an easy answer to that question right there. Lennox, like you said, is best. Like that France Botha fight, like that dude right there was a monster, man. But shout out to Lennox, man. Let's go ahead and get off. It's just a lot of boxing that took place this weekend. I want to start, since speaking of heavyweights, let's go ahead and start off with our guy, man, Bomb Squad. He was in action. the fight kind of looked like a that fight that Martin had, that charity boxing event. Like that's how that's how I be looking on
yeah. CMB champ. I'm a CMB champ.
Yes, sir. But Wilder, he stopped Herndon, I want to say like the 6th or 7th round. The referee waved the fight off. What did you think about Bomb Squad's performance the other day? Also, as you go, the people who voted last week, it was 80-20. So I think that was probably fair on their end in terms of what was seen. I know Wilder pretty much won each and every round, but what did you think, Bill, as far as this fight, getting the rust off and everything? You think that he has a bright future ahead?
No, I'm not sure, because it seemed like his reaction time, like his accuracy was kind of off. But the good part of it was that he got some rounds in, and he was able to do his thing. It would be active. To me, he didn't seem sluggish or anything. He seemed, same energy level he's always had. Just normally for an opponent the level of a Tyrell Herndon, Wilder would normally, figure that accuracy out very, very soon. Like, I'll even say Wilder 5 years ago, that right hand would have landed probably at the end of the first round or the second round, would have put Herndon to sleep. So I'm not sure if his timing is there, but at the same time, the silver lining and great thing about it is he gets a lot of activity out of this. He went, 6 rounds. He dominated the fight. Herndon couldn't do anything with him. And also, he was able to get to hurt Herndon at will and get the knockout, which is a good thing for him and his confidence and going forward. So that part is good. It's just that obviously he's declined.
Okay. What about you, Sheldon? What you see on Friday?
I think the weakest guy we got in the top 10 of the heavyweight division is probably Fabio Wardley. Would you agree?
I mean, Fabio didn't look too hot in his last campaign. That's for sure. I'm not so certain. It depends on what you're saying, because Fabio still can crack a little bit. But I know what you're saying. But the thing is,
and Fabio Wardley destroys this guy we seen Friday night. He destroys that guy. That guy we seen Friday night, man, the snap wasn't there on his punches. The movement wasn't there. The man, retire, bro. Can you look at that guy we saw last night and put that guy in with Dubois? Come on, man. Put that guy in with Big Baby Anderson. Come on, man. This dude, look, Wilder had a great run for a guy who had limited boxing skill because he started late, to become the heavyweight champion of the world, defend the title 10 times on athleticism and heart. It'll probably never be equaled again. Because usually when a guy becomes champion, he's been boxing for 10, 15, 20 years of his life. This dude became champion boxing maybe 5, 6 years.
Yeah, but now, like 2 years.
yeah. But now, like they're talking about, well, now I don't know if you heard this or not. They talk about sending him to England to fight Paul Allen for $15 million. If I'm Wilder, I take it. Because Allen's gonna knock you out. But you're gonna get $15 million out. Bruh, you had a great run. If it was me, if I was his friend, if I was Deontay Wilder's friend, I'd be like, man, sit at home and count your money, man. You don't need to do this no more. You've done enough for the people, bro. Dude, we don't want to remember you like that. I don't want to remember Wilder the way I saw him Friday night. I just don't.
Talk to me, what you see?
Yeah, I mean, he did fight a guy that wasn't in the top 10. So he looked, I wouldn't say he looked like the Wilder of the old, but he was coming forward, letting them hands go, throwing the big shots. But like I said, this was against a guy who wasn't like in the top. So I mean, I was glad he was able to, get some rounds in. We know him for getting those early KOs, but at least he got some rounds in. He got rid of Malik Scott, from what I understand. So I think that's a good move. But do I want to see him continue and try to, make another reign at the title? Absolutely not. I mean, this isn't the same Wilder from years ago. He's older, so I don't give him much of a shot against any of the top guys. So, like I said, I think he's done enough. He became champ. He has successful title defenses. So, I mean, you did your thing, man. Just call it, call it a night, right off into the sunset.
So you're trying to put, you're saying my man eulogy right now. You understand what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. Wilder, that's his first fight back. He's been off for a year. He said that he had some issues with his shoulder and everything. And I think that I would have to agree with that. Because sometimes with that right hand, the way he throws it, I can see it didn't have that zap on it at certain times when he would throw it. And to me, that's indicative of someone who may have had some type of shoulder injury. And I think he said that something was wrong with his rotator cuff, and that makes sense. And the reason why I say that is because me personally, back in about 2016, 2017, I had came back from this field trip with these kids. I was over in DC, and we were outside for about an hour, and I was throwing the ball. It was like, Mr. Henry got an arm. And I was out there cooking. I was like old Michael Vick Henry out there. You understand what I'm saying? I was whipping that thing. But the only
more
problem,
like Sonny Jurgensen Henry, right? More like Sonny Jurgensen Henry.
You know, Vic had an arm too, though. So I'm saying that to say the day I woke up, my shoulder was sore as I don't know what. And then I was like, dang, let me try to throw the ball, and I couldn't do it. And I don't know if it was torn. It was some type of injury there. And it lingered for a long time, maybe 6 months, 8 months. And I still was having that problem. And when I would try to throw something, then it just wasn't right. And even now, I'm concerned. It's healed now, but I'm still concerned about overexerting it. And it looked like he had some issues with that the other day. Here's the thing, though. That right hand is still powerful, though. What I did like was some of the jabbing that he was doing. If he can build with his trainer on some of the things and capitalize, like I said, that jab was good. If he can work on, one or two more pieces to what it is he's doing, I think that he still may have a chance at one more big victory or two because of the power that he has. But he looks very susceptible to in exchanges. And that's the thing that I'm concerned about for the champ, because I'm a huge Deontay Wilder fan. And I don't want to see him go out bad, but I also know he has a lion's heart where he's not going to stop. And so I just hope he puts himself in the best situation possible, working with that trainer and adding a few more wrinkles. And I know it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but we shall see. But I'm happy for the champ. He seems in a good space. Anything else you guys have?
You want that AJ fight, don't you? That's what you want. You want that AJ fight.
I won't mind seeing that.
I'm concerned because I think that he's way more vulnerable now. And to be honest with you, I never understood initially why AJ was so scared, because I thought, I know why, that right hand is why he's scared, but I thought that he would be in prime position to beat Wilder when he was at his best. Like I'm looking, I'm like, dang, like the way you fight, you might, like Wilder might catch you, but at the same time, I would lean towards AJ, but the fact that he's so shook and so scared, that's why I always would lean towards Wilder.
It was never AJ, bro. Stop doing that, Will. I know you Wilder fans say that. Stop doing that. It was never AJ. It was Shelly Finkel who didn't want to fight, and Eddie Hearn who didn't want to fight. The fighter wasn't afraid.
I'm gonna let you keep thinking that, sir.
The fighter wasn't afraid. It was the promoters that were afraid. Because Shelly Finkel, hey, look, when Shelly Finkel called Wilder a baby champion under Klitschko, I was done right then. Then I'm done. How you 33-year-old and a baby champion? What is a baby champion? What does that mean?
I don't know. I just know that AJ was scared shook of Wilder. That's what I do know.
And I know Wilder was scared sick of Klitschko. So let's leave it at that.
So are we talking about? Are we talking about Klitschko? Are we talking about Deontay Wilder? Are we talking about AJ?
Man, he was never scared. AJ was never scared of him, and he was never scared of AJ. Stop pushing that, bro.
Now I'm gonna tell you to stop pushing what you pushing. That's fabrication.
My bad. I forgot this is a Wilder channel. My bad.
Let me ask Vail and Ty. And I don't know. I know Vail. A lot of times you don't like to be in the middle of anything, and you gonna try to sugarcoat stuff.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I understand. In your understanding of the AJ Wilder, the reason why they didn't fight, who would you say it was more so because? Would it be Wilder or would it be AJ? Based on what
based on what I believe, we more AJ. That's one thing we do agree on. I can't say if he's scared or not, but there's always been apprehension about him getting in the ring with Wilder. And Wilder will always be the one calling him out. Wilder always wanted that fight, and like you said earlier, I thought that I would favor AJ in that fight. I knew it was a dangerous fight, but fighting is dangerous. But I thought that AJ was more. See, but that's before we learn what we know about AJ now. I thought he would be a little mentally stronger than I'm not calling him mentally weak by it, so I don't want anyone to twist my words. But I thought he would be a little bit mentally stronger than what we've seen. And that's why I favor him. But obviously he's a human being and they all got flaws. So yeah.
Because see, Dillian White used to always say stuff like that. He was saying that you guys don't know AJ, but again, like you said, we didn't really see any of the fragility initially. But people like Dillian White would say that. Like, no, you don't know him.
Hold on, bro. You gonna listen to a dude that got knocked out twice by Dillian White? Come on, man. Stop.
I can listen. See, there you go. Like, so that's like asking somebody who's right there with the guy. He came through what's come with him. He went through like the Olympics and all that time. He know the guy. So how am I going to not? It's not like he's saying something that didn't reveal itself. What he said was actually it turned out to be true. We saw how
but he didn't know because he got beat up. He didn't know.
So you can't see something. I know a lot of people who know some things about me, and we had issues. But if they know what it is that they saw,
did you whoop them? Did you whoop them?
If they know what they saw in those situations when I did what I did, then they have a bird's eye view of who he. Let's go and keep.
Well, I'm just telling you about me, Val. I'm just telling you about me. If you whoop the dude,
don't get confused.
If you whooped on the dude, Wilton, I don't believe nothing he said because you whooped his ass. I don't believe nothing he said. You got whooped.
I'm solely different because I can get information.
I don't need no information. You got whooped. I don't know information you got because it didn't work. Anything you got to say is faulty.
All that right there sounds cute and fine and dandy, but I think what that is, it puts yourself in a deficit because you're unwilling to listen to this valuable information from somebody who has a bird's eye view of that person. Like, to me, I would never do that. But anyway, moving forward.
He got a bird's eye view from looking up from the canvas. Come on, man, stop it. He don't know.
He got a bird's eye view, right? Exactly. So you telling me that Max Schmeling couldn't tell
Go ahead. Your internet went out. You say Max Schmeling didn't know nothing about Joe Louis. Is that what you said?
Anything. I'm saying whoever he lost to, he can tell you about the person. He'd probably be the person you want to talk to. But anyway,
Joe Louis. Hold on. With Joe Louis, he proved it though. He showed you. He didn't just talk about it. He did it. Dillian White never did nothing.
So you saying a person who lost to another person can't tell you about the flaw of the other person, but they just couldn't take advantage of the flaw that they use? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, then that's where we differ then, sir. All right, yesterday you have Schoolfield who stopped Tevin Farmer in round one. Probably the most impressive victory over the weekend. Bill, I'm gonna start with you. What is that you saw yesterday from this young man? Also, a lot of people who was questioning, we thought that Tevin Farmer had a legitimate chance winning the fight.
Yeah, I thought that Tevin would win and they would rob him. That's what I thought would happen. Schofield had other plans, man. I mean, he was a dog, man. He went in there and got busy, and once he started hurting Tevin Farmer never really recovered. He even though he got up, and I think each time he went down 3 times, and twice, and then the ref stopped the third time when he got hurt. Each for those first 2 times he went down, it seemed like he got more and more hurt. And that second knockdown, I think, man, it's kind of sad to watch because I saw, Farmer looking up. I don't know if he's looking at the clock or what, but he kept just looking up, and I'm like, he don't look right, man. And Schofield just put him out, man, and the ref saved him. But I will say that it's kind of, but as someone who, I like Tevin Farmer, so it's kind of sad to watch, like, because that's basically that might be the end of his rope. And if he does decide to continue, he'll just be some opponent that people are going to knock out for props. It's sad to see somebody who, they didn't always get the good end of the stick in their career like they should have. He went up against a lot. There was decisions that didn't go his way. Then there's the time I think he was shot in the hand, and that detoured his career a little bit.
Get on all of that sad stuff, man. The man got knocked out. That's fine.
Yeah, but it's just
But as we go through this episode, I want to take the logic based on what Shelton just said. So if we're talking about people who can't say stuff to people because they lose to them, then how about you take the same advice, sir? You're losing right now to me up in this prediction. How about you just keep your mouth closed? All right,
hey, come on, Bill, man.
But anyway, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, it was just sad to watch, man, and hopefully Farmer made some good money, man. He can get out the game, man, because if he don't, it's not going to look good for him. So
you don't think so?
And for Scott. No, I don't think so. And because now that allure of his defense is not as threatening, What
was he thinking about, man? All he had to do was this. First and foremost, I thought that he wouldn't come out the gate and leave himself so vulnerable to a guy you want to take to deep waters. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's sitting up there, got his hands down, trying to be slick, and little dude saw that and was like, oh, huh? And put them paws on him, man. I felt bad for Tevin, but it's like when Martin had an episode with Nipsey. He came in the game, and he was telling Nipsey, as soon as Nipsey got in the game, he tried to shoot. He was like, man, what do you sit back down, man? You don't just come in the game. You
called Martin's TV show, right? And he was saying Nipsey, the bartender, right?
The bartender, yeah. He said, man,
okay, make sure people don't think it's Nipsey Hussle you're talking about.
Then they just ask, sir. All you gotta do is questions and ask answers is how is the name of the game. Please allow me to retort.
Okay.
So he came in again. I thought he did the same thing. He come in a fight and he's sitting up here like leaving himself open and vulnerable that early. He's not even warmed up. And then it was all bad from there. Ty, what did you see in that fight, man? Were you impressed with Schofield?
Yes and no, but all right. So I'll say this: I was wrong in my prediction. I had Farmer winning this fight by decision, so I was wrong in my prediction. But it was over in the first round, so it's not like we really got a lot to see. But I was expecting both guys to come out guns blazing, fill each other out. But like once I seen that first shot that put Tevin Farmer down, man, I jumped back like damn. Like I kind of knew it was going to be over from that point, but yeah, he like Vel said, he got up, he recovered, and then he went down again. And like the second knockdown, like he touched the canvas even harder. So I was like, yeah, they're probably going to stop this. So, and he got up, then Schoolfield finished the job. So hats off to the young man. You could tell that he was definitely emotional after the fight. You see him, tearing up. So and he did something that. Williams Zepeda couldn't do over 24 rounds. So
Murtazalia couldn't do it? Murtazalia fought him too.
Yeah, so I mean, the Schoolfield reminds me of, you can say like a Sean Porter. He's stocky, he's short. So I see him having a lot of success, but I just think that somebody who's real with skills, he's probably gonna have trouble. So like hats off to him, man. He got the job done. I also think him being emotional could come from all the, the people that was criticizing him, for backing out of the Stevenson fight. So, but like, yeah, man. Hats off to the guy. He made a statement, in my opinion. Got Farmer out in the first round. So, hats off to him. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this guy in the future.
Yeah, man, he made a statement. Sheldon, did you see the fight? What you think?
Two things, brother. Number one, this furthers my prediction that Shakur gonna knock Zepeda out because Zepeda's trash. Number two, I have to take back everything I said about Floyd Schofield. Schofield went in there and got rid of the old man like he was supposed to. This old dude had no business coming in here with me. I'm 23 years old. I'm better than him in every aspect of the game, and I'm gonna show y'all. And he did exactly what he said he was gonna do. He got rid of that old dude. Zepeda couldn't do it in 24 rounds. And on what's that, July 12th? Or July 26th or the 12th? I don't remember what date. But you guys are going to see how bad Shakur Stevenson destroys Zepeda. Zepeda is trash. Shakur Stevenson's going to show it to you. But yeah, I think Schofield is a better fighter than I thought. I have to take everything back that I said about him. And I'm waiting to see him again. I want to see him get some better competition, though.
Doughboy says, I was shocked watching this fight on pay-per-view last night. Schofield, if he is ready for Shakur, it says, but a TK on the first round. Yeah, he would have knocked him out because Farmer kept talking about he kept wanting to fight, and he wasn't in any condition to continue. Here's the things that I think, though, that could be a factor in the outcome of this fight. One is the kid. The kid is better than what people initially gave him credit for. Because if you saw the Duran fight or Duran, whatever his opponent name was the last time, and no offense to him, he looked vulnerable. He looked suspect. He tired towards the end. That's the reason why I thought Tevin Farmer was going to try to take him to deep waters and not come out the fight, leaving himself so open. Now, the thing as far as Farmer is concerned, see, when I don't know, Zepeda might be better than this kid. I don't know. I still don't know. I think the jury's still out. He's getting a version of Tevin Farmer who's a little more shot worn because he had the higher profile fights against the Murtazalievs. He had the 2 fights against William Zepeda. So those are some hard training camps that you put yourself through. And he had less than 3 months to get prepared for this kid. So that's a lot of wear and tear, especially on a 34-year-old person. And on top of that, the speed is different. When you fighting against a William Zepeda, he's a thudding puncher, but he's not like a dynamic puncher to that degree. So he's going to thud on you. It's not going to really be the same. This kid right here could put your lights out. And I heard some other people who train with him said, no, dude got some heavy hands. Like, no, he can crack. Talking about Brian Norman can crack too. It was like, no, those dudes serious. Like, you can't let them hit you. So with that being said, I think the speed, he's looking at this kid like, you are not on my level in terms of your experience. You're still a little kid, and I've already fought at the higher level, and I fought dudes who are more world-class than you. You still wet behind your ears. That's what he's thinking, but he's not taking into consideration, even though those could be true. It's just the fact that that dude is more dynamic, and you can't leave yourself that vulnerable. I equate it to this. I remember watching Chad Dawson, Bad Chad. Bad Chad had the fights with Glenn Johnson. Then he had the fights with Bernard Hopkins. Then he ended up fighting my man from Montreal. What's his name, Vil?
Jean Pascal.
John Pascal was young and he was quicker, and it just seemed like his timing was a little bit off because he had those 4 fights against those old dudes. Now he's fighting a dude that's a little bit fast, quick twitch. It kind of threw him off. It finally took him to like the 11th round to kind of get settled in, but by that time it was too late. Pascal had too much of a lead, and so I equated to something like that. Anything else you got about this kid before I ask the next question? Because the next question I got is this: now, what chance do you give him of upsetting Shakur now? So I know you weren't thinking that it was even a fair fight.
Well, it's a different fight still. I mean, Stevenson levels above, Tevin Farmer, especially the one we saw last night. So, But you've seen Stevenson in there with punches like Garcia, but I think this is different because Schofield can do a lot of different things too. So,
how do you know that though?
I mean, just based off the style, I don't know if he can do it on the highest of levels, because we haven't seen that yet. He's still an upcoming guy, but that's why they fight, man. I think it'll be a entertaining fight. I think it'll be a good one if it ever happens.
Still
but Schofield, but you gotta mention Schofield in there when you start mentioning guys at lightweight like Stevenson and Tank Davis. Now you gotta think, like, okay, Tank versus Floyd Schofield. He's in that conversation now.
Well, we'll never see that, sir. Tank's not.
We know, but it's worth saying. Just maybe if you say something enough, maybe it'll happen. Wishful thinking.
First off, just if you can answer the question, that'd be greatly appreciated. What chance would you give him? Like what percentage? Then the other thing too is what about people like Abdullah Mason? Who would you favor, him or Abdullah Mason?
I don't know, because these guys are so early in their careers. It's like you've never seen them in there with, caricatures, and I'm messing my verbiage up of those guys. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen Abdullah Mason in there with someone like a Schofield. The only thing we have is that we can base Schofield off of right now is in there with a defense boxer like Farmer. But at the same time, is his reflexes, shaky? Is he really the old man Farmer? But also his defense is different than someone like a Shakur Stevenson. Like Tevin Farmer, his is more movement, and as you said, he went in there with his hands down. That's not something that Shakur Stevenson does. So I think that jury is still out. So I would say it's still 40% chance that Schofield has.
That's a pretty high number. Okay. What about you, Sheldon? What chance would you give him against Shakur and then also Abdullah?
I think him and Abdullah is a better fight, a closer fight. That's more of a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, because they're around the same level of fighter. When you're talking Shakur Stevenson, a multi-weight world champion, that's a different level. Schofield's never been on that level. Neither has Abdullah. So with Abdullah Mason and Schofield, that's a 50-50 fight. With Schofield and Shakur Stevenson, you talk about 70-30 at best, maybe 80-20. He has a puncher's chance against Shakur.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me. What you think?
Yeah, that goes to my point about I was saying earlier. I just feel like once Schoolfield fights somebody that's like very skilled, like he's just gonna get like, I'm not gonna say get beat easily, but I think that's when he's gonna struggle. Like so with Shakur Stevenson, I'm giving him less than 50% chance. Like I know Stevenson doesn't have the power, but I can see Stevenson, like just catching. I can see, Schoolfield coming in, trying to throw those big punches, but Shakur Stevenson counter him, catching him even before he gets his shots off. So I just think with a Stevenson, he's going to struggle. So I'll give him less than 50% chance. But Abdullah Mason, I think Abdullah Mason, he's got the power on his side. Both guys got power, so that's more of an even fight in my opinion. But I think that Abdullah Mason, they're moving him a lot better. He's fighting more often, so I would give Abdullah Mason, the shot in that fight, but Shakur Stevenson is definitely under 50%.
What's going on, EJ20? He says new sub from UK or and shout out to you, sir. Hopefully you sub to both channels, ours as well as Ty's channel. His is in this corner. That's a tricky proposition messing with Shakur because Shakur those reflexes and Shakur, if he don't want you to hit him, it's going to be very hard to hit him, and he doesn't. He rarely puts himself in a situation where he's vulnerable to get countered or get hit with something flush. So that's going to be the problem. And then also missing so much, you'll start getting tired. And then not only are you like getting drained physically, you're also getting drained psychologically too, because you're like, man, I can't hit this dude, and that gets so frustrating. So I can see that happening in a Shakur fight. I want to see what Shakur does in the Cepeda fight. See, the thing about Shakur, I thought when I first saw him coming up, I thought he was going to be somebody who stays in the pocket more against all comers, but he doesn't do that. And so fighters that he faced, if he sees if a punch whips past him and he don't like how heavy that shot was, then you're gonna see he gonna put his boots on, he's gonna put his track shoes on, and he's gonna just like do enough that he has to do in order to secure victory. Won't be the most aesthetically pleasing fight, but at the same time, he's still gonna be effective and be victorious in that manner. Facts, he does have puncher's chance, but he can get caught. That's right. And then Ty is telling them to sub to that channel. Also, click on that link. And Ty does a lot of good work, man. So you definitely want to do that. Let me see what else we got. So if you look at the ratings right here, it's going to be important to see what happens, because you got the big fight that's going to take place in November. I would be interested to see if this Cheek, if he would put the winner of this against Schofield on the undercard of that big fight card that they're going to have in Riyadh in November. So that's going to be very interesting. Also, you had Zurdo, man. Zurdo was in action yesterday. He ended up beating Unio Dorticus. Last week when people were voting, the 13 people voted, they said it was 70, almost 80% of the people felt Zurdo was going to be victorious. I thought Dorticus put up a good fight, though. That was a good battle. And then Zurdo just, it was a professional victory. You know what I'm saying? But what did you see, Vel?
I thought it was an excellent fight. I thought it was competitive. The thing about Zurdo is he has wrinkles to his game. He can do a lot of different things. He's not just a volume puncher. And I know a lot of people were saying, and even though it's somewhat true, but a lot of people were saying how he was getting by on just being a bigger man in the ring and getting on the size. But he can move. He can do different things. And if he doesn't get the knockout, he can still. It's other things that he still does. He is very skilled. Now, but in this fight, it's interesting because it showed that he can take on a strong puncher in Dorticos at cruiserweight. Because Dorticos can crack. But also one other thing is that Zurdo coming in like 220 in the ring. I'm like, man, this dude was a heavyweight. He would just fight that 168 and 175. So that shows how naturally big he is. But it was interesting, and I was kind of impressed by Dorticus. Dorticus was taking some good shots from Zurdo also, and it didn't wield him. And I thought Dorticus did a great job too. So it was a close fight there. Ramirez exit, but out of that, I still don't think that you put Ramirez. I'm not sure about putting Ramirez in there with Opataya. Even though they should.
Question, but if you want to go ahead and start, go ahead because he did send the information to him. He says, make sure you get my number and call me. And then says, someone give me bro's number. And so it's looking like Opataya and Zurdo is going to be next, hopefully. And so since you went ahead and went with it, who do you like then? And so you like Opataya? Do you like it to be a knockout, or it's going to be a decision? How's it going to play out?
See, that's the thing. We've never seen Zurdo just get real hurt and dropped and all that. And the Opataya guy has some serious power, and that's his natural weight. That's what his start out weight is, cruiserweight. So it's going to be interesting watching Zurdo, take punishment. But the good thing, the silver lining in it, is that Zurdo is a legit cruiserweight. It's just the question is, the thing that's going to be dangerous for him is he doesn't have the power. He hasn't shown the power to put a dent in Opataya, and I think that's going to be the issue.
This is me.
What do you think, Sheldon?
Oh, I've been telling you about my boy for years. Y'all just don't want to listen, man. Zurdo's the man. That's my guy. I love Zurdo Ramirez. I liked him ever since he was down there with at 168 beating on my boy. I forget my guy's name. He had the 2 fights with the guy down there at 68 when he was world champion. And then he moved to 75 and beat everybody except for Bivol, because Bivol is just a great boxer. He's on another level. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think any of these cruiserweights can deal with Zurdo except for Opataya. I think the Opataya Zurdo Ramirez fight is going to look similar to the Bivol Zurdo Ramirez fight. Opataya is too fast. He got too much skill. He's going to probably 10-2, 11-1 Zerto. I don't think he'll stop Zerto because, like you said, we've never really seen Zerto hurt or knocked down. But I think he'll 10-2 or 11-1 Zerto. That's the guy right there. I think Zerto, the best fight for Zerto if he really wants to get another belt is the Badu Jack fight. That's a fight I think he can win.
Oh,
I think he can beat Badu Jack.
Yeah,
but I don't think he can beat Jairo Pataya. I think Jairo Pataya is on another level.
Yeah, I think this version of Jack, I think Jack is not, just like Zerto, Jack is not really a cruiserweight, but I think Zerto is more suited for cruiserweight than Badu Jack is. And I think even though Jack is skilled and he made his way as a cruiserweight, I still think he's far past it. And Zerto still, I think Zerto's still in his prime too. So what about you, Ty?
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna pick J.R. Pataya. I just think that now, don't get me wrong, Zerto has a lot of fights under his belt, so he's got a lot of experience. So but I remember when he just fought Bivol, it was just like he didn't do nothing in that fight. Like I don't know why. Maybe it was just that Bivol was too skilled, too good. But J.R. Pataya, like even though I can't say he's fighting like the great names, but the cruiserweight is not really a very stacked division. So, but J.R. Pataya is stopping everybody. So I think this is a fight where Zerto Ramirez would definitely have trouble. So I can see J.R. Pataya getting like a late stoppage. So,
he could. Only thing about Pataya, he don't be fighting anybody. So he's gonna be fighting one of the guys that's the most skilled that he's faced. So he's gonna have to deal with that himself. But he is a dynamic puncher, and he's similar to the guy that Zerto couldn't do anything with, and that was Bivol, in certain situations. But he's more powerful than Bivol, but I think Bivol is a little bit more technically sound than Pataya. So it'll be an interesting matchup from that standpoint, and I like it though. Hopefully those guys are able to, make that fight happen.
Yeah, I called for it, man. I called for it for a while back, for that fight. So I hope you get it.
Oh yeah.
Well, when Zerto is my guy, I pick Zerto against everybody. Zerto Ramirez beats everybody except for Bivol and Pataya, but he beats everybody else.
There ain't really nobody else to fight though. You know what I'm saying? Like who else is there at the cruiserweight division?
You got Badu Jack, got a belt.
Yeah, you brought Badu Jack.
So let me say that one more time. Who else is there? All right, now.
Whoa. Now, we good. We cordial, Wilton. We ain't gonna have no Badu Jack slander on this channel, bro.
Badu Jack is the overachiever. You know what I'm saying? Like Badu Jack. I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that Badu. Remember, like most of the fights that he had, like these high profile fights, he either like lost them narrowly or it was a draw or something like that. So it was
he got jobbed. How many times did Badu get jobbed, bro? Badu got jobbed a few times.
He probably had a lot of close fights, though. It could have gone either way. You know what I mean? But he probably would have favored him, but I can see it being draws and things like that. But I'm saying that to say that he does have skill. I won't give Badu that, but it's just that he's always in close fights, And I don't think he's dynamic enough and have enough, for somebody like Zerto or Pataya or any quality champion. I don't like Badu facing those guys. But anywho, yesterday you had Jake.
Hey, Will, wait, you didn't like Zerto's performance, man? Because I ain't hear you say it yet.
Yeah. What's happening with Zerto, man? What's going on, Will?
No, I gotta hear it, man. I gotta hear it, man.
Not after that.
Okay, I guess not.
That was okay. That was a workmanlike performance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I like what he did from the standpoint that he had an opponent, a pretty solid opponent who was there to win. And I don't know if he wasn't on his game early, and the other guy was, but he was like, it was a workmanlike performance. Like, okay, let me go ahead and get myself back into this fight. Let me start doing my thing and doing what it is I need to do in order to secure this victory. And I thought that's what he did, and I appreciate that. When I see Zerto, as far as, again, I told you this when we first started the podcast, that Zerto, if you look at him, you see a professional an offensively professional fighter. That is what you see. Like on offense, and also just some of his movements. He has a little bit of slickness to him too, where he turns with certain shots and he comes back with certain shots. He does that really well. It just the guys who are top level, they know how to, do what it is they need to do against Soto. And Soto fought a lot of tomato cans throughout his career too. But he's still, I would say he's like a B+ level type fighter. That's where I see Soto. And like I said, I think he found his niche over there in cruiserweight. Also, Jake Paul, man. There was a barn burner yesterday, him and Cesar Chavez. Vail, talk to me, man.
Last 2 rounds, maybe it was a barn burner, but man, Chavez is embarrassing.
Chavez, was he? Did he let Jake win that fight?
I ain't gonna just say he let him, but he gave it away. Like, dude, because we look at those last 2 rounds. I'm like, if you would have been doing that the whole fight, man. I don't know if he didn't have the I don't know if he was scared or didn't have the stamina to do it, and gave up on himself and said, "I'm going to leave it in the clip."
That's the reason why I say that, because when he was doing it, he looked like a professional against a YouTuber. Like once he started throwing punches, and he had a look on his face like, "Okay, let me stop. Okay, I did that, and then let me stop. I might hurt dude." That's what it looked like when I saw. I'm like, dude, you can do that. And Chavez ain't like when he's in shape, that's what he can do. Like when he was throwing those shots. But again, take a look, just look at the highlights. When he like goes on a little flurry, it's like, okay, I hit him a little too hard. Let me go ahead and stop. So
I mean, I can see that too. It just I find it hard to believe that Chavez Jr. would. I know we talk about Chavez Jr., but I do find it hard to believe that he would almost pretty much fix a fight like that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is like embarrassing for him. Like, dude, you lost to a YouTuber, dude. You a son of a legend, and you lost to a YouTuber. You know, everything about Zerto is kind of what I expected Chavez to be. Earlier in his career, and the cake just didn't rise, man. After that Sergio Martinez fight, dude just wasn't never mentally in it anymore. So I see this poll, and all these people thought that Chavez Jr. would win. And now it was interesting that a lot of people thought he would win, and then even the crowd was a little bit on his side, booing Jake Paul and stuff like that. But I just knew Chavez was going to find a way to not train as hard and lose this fight, and he did it. And it's just sad that somebody would do that. You know what I'm saying? That just, dude, man, he's embarrassment, dude.
Man, listen, he got that 1.5. He might get 2.5 million a year.
They stole our dressing room.
Listen, man, you're gonna have
by like the women stole his money.
The other thing too is that I'm gonna tell you what how he's looking at this. He's saying, man, Mike Tyson went up there with Jake Paul. He didn't win a round, and I don't know how people looking at Mike's career after he fought against Jake Paul in that fight, but Mike got paid, and he said Mike in there, and it's not going to either tarnish his career, or even if it did tarnish his career, it happened to Mike. I can go in there and get this 2.5. You know what I'm saying? And
if he believe that, he's even dumber than I think he is, for the simple fact that, number one, Mike is 55, 56 years old, and he already got a legacy. Chavez hasn't even done anything. If he would have beaten Jake Paul, at least he could say he did not something astonishing, but hey, I've upheld the respect of the sport. You know what I'm saying? And he failed at that.
Hold on, Val. He's a 2-time middleweight champion of the world. 2 times. Y'all saw in the post fight, if you watched the post fight, the dope man was in the locker room waiting to get his money for all that credit he gave him during the week. Chavez Jr. could have beat the brakes off of Jake Paul if he chose to. He chose not to. I'm with Wilton 100%. He chose not to. He could have beat the brakes off that dude if he wanted to. He didn't.
No, I'm just gonna say, Vail, check this out, man. Take a look at some of those flurries that he went
I
on.
saw it.
I'm just not just the flurries, but look at how he looks after he throws the punch. It's like, okay, it's like, dude, just keep going, and then he'll stop. And then even when a decision was made, you can see that look on his face, like, you know, let me go and get this money. And probably, you probably do owe a whole bunch of people some money. That's why it's like, man, I gotta, instead of going ahead and having my self with a Colombian necktie, I can pay these dudes off, you know. But anyway, what else y'all fellas see? I know Ty, you saw the fight, right? What you think?
Yeah, man, I actually did see it. I saw the highlights, but I'm gonna give my 1-2 on it. Now don't get me wrong. I know Chavez got a lot of experience, got a lot of fights, 60-something fights, I believe. But I just never was high on the guy, man. I just never was high. I mean, if you think about it, he lost to Anderson Silva as well. So that's another boxer he lost to. I mean, another non-boxer he lost to. So I remember it vividly, man. I can't remember which fight it was, but I just remember watching 24/7 or one of them shows, and like Chavez was in the house and he was like in his boxers high. It looked like he was high out of his mind, eating cereal. So it just didn't look like he was taking the training seriously, man. So I just never was very high on him. But even though he is a great fighter, but I just don't think he was like at that level of his dad. Like his dad was disgusted. I can't remember which fight, but his dad was ringside disgusted with his performance in one of the fights. I can't remember which one it was. And I heard it the same thing last night that his dad was there disgusted. So, but yeah, I mean, Jake Paul, he's doing his thing, man. So hats off to him. But like just me, man. I just never was a big fan of Chavez Jr.
It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. And you know what? At work, in my cube at work, I actually have a energy drink. I don't know. Someone gave it to me as a gift. It has a picture of Julio Cesar Chavez on it. It's like the drink of champions. And you know, you got a lot of people that don't follow boxing, so they don't know the difference. I might have to turn that thing around or hide it somewhere this week.
He's in the. What are you talking about, Vel? What are you talking about? He's in the books. He's a 2-time middleweight WBC middleweight champion of the world.
He lost to Jake Paul, and he's not even in his 40s yet.
You know what the fix looks like, Vel. Now you just don't want to admit it, but you know what the fix looks like.
But the
fix was in. The fix was in.
At some point, you gotta have more respect for yourself and your career to not do that.
The fix was in, bro.
Bill,
They're building Jake Paul. They're building Jake Paul to fight somebody else, maybe a Wilder. The AJ fight, I don't think he should ever take that because I think AJ would knock his block off. But they might want him to fight a Wilder. They may think he has a chance.
Tank, call it out Tank for him.
You know, he's never going to fight that guy. And nobody will ever even. It's not feasible. Tank could never get big enough to fight him. It's never going to happen ever. That's a lot of talk. It's never going to happen. But the Wilder fight could happen.
No, that Tank fight can happen. And the thing is, that's who was in this. Remember, he was supposed to announce that after the Roach fight, but then he ended up. So it's
a 150-pound dude against Jake Paul. Nobody's going for that. Nobody's going for that, bro. They wouldn't go for Floyd Mayweather against Jake Paul. He couldn't sell that. You couldn't sell that. And his brother's a wrestler. His brother's in the WWE. His brother's a wrestler.
Y'all, I hear what you're saying, sir, but what I'm telling you, what was about to happen is he was about to announce. Tank Davis tweeted he's going to tweet his next fight, or he's going to say his next fight when he gets on the microphone. The fighter that he was going to face was in his locker. The only person that was in there was Jake. Was in his locker room. So that was supposed to be the play.
I don't believe it, bro. I just don't believe it. I just don't think it. I don't think even the new age boxing public can't be that stupid to want to see Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Who wants to see that? Come on, man.
Well, they watched them fight a 58-year-old dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, Jake. Here's the thing. I honestly think the fix was in. I'm with you, Ty, when you say that you never was high on him. I never was. That Andy Lee victory was impressive to me. I like what I saw there with Chavez, but outside of that, he left a lot to be desired. And I just always thought that he was a dude who capitalized on just being bigger than his opponents because he can shrink down. He can make the weight and then balloon up in weight, and then he would have a huge advantage over his opponents. That's all I saw. I never really saw a lot of skill with him as well. But in that fight right there, he showed me that there's a huge difference between him if he wanted to actually apply pressure, throw punches. It wasn't anything Jake was going to be able to do with him. And I'm going to tell you this too, Ty. When you brought up Anderson Silva, the reason why those fights are totally different is because styles make fights. Anderson Silva at his best, he can be slippery. He can buy time. He can do little stuff that will kind of offset a person who applies pressure. Jake Paul, he doesn't. Jake Paul is more so somebody, he's better off fighting somebody who's going to kind of like move around a little bit so he can buy some time when he's tired. If you apply some pressure to him, he doesn't know how to buy that time because all he wants to do is land his right hand and tie you up. So if he has somebody like Chavez continuously applying that pressure, throwing hard, thudding shots, it's going to wear him out. And that's what, like I said, I saw that when he actually did it in the 9th and 10th round. And I'm like, dude, he knew just looking at him, having that professional eye, that was going to be his pathway to victory. I don't think Jake would have lasted 4 or 5 rounds if he would have started doing that from the giddy up. But he just wanted to show a little bit of something and then leave it at that and then collect his paycheck because he didn't want any problems on collecting his check from Jake because he had, I'm assuming the last part as far as who he owed. But with that being said, last but not least, man, I lost a little bit of money because I put a little bit of bread on the Billy fight. Y'all get a chance to see that right there, man. He whooped. Did you see that?
You put your money on Selecki, bro? You put your money on Selecki?
Yeah.
man, Selecki was still trying to fill the Billy out. he was in fill out mode. Billy caught him with that.
How good were the odds, Will? Why did you do that, bro? You didn't see that last week? Let me show you something. That's why I was trying to. That's why I said that I probably would do some type of show that talks about the money. So let me show you right here, right? So this here, you see how I just put the $4 on my man Curiel to win in the 4th round. Well, that $4 that gave me 48. Okay, yeah, I see that. So and now those odds were that like he had even higher odds against him, and so I put $10 on Selecki just in case something, miraculous happened and he ended up getting the nod. Then I would have really. My bad, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. My bad. You $10. Okay. Yeah. I thought you put some real money. No. I thought you put some real money. Yeah. Come on. I know you better than that. Yeah. I don't put nothing major on. I would never do nothing like that. But anyway, what do you think about Billy? Do you think that he's a player at 168 Vail based on what you've been seeing from him?
I mean, I think he's a player. I mean, and 160 is not like the hardest division. So, 168. 68, bro. That's a little harder. I mean, I think he's still a player. Do I think he's going to start beating all those guys? No.
No, my question is, you say he's a player, but is he going to crush a lot, though? You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, he might crush a few guys on here, man.
Is he the number one guy after Canelo?
No, he ain't number one guy after Canelo. He'll crush a William Skull.
Well, who is? Who's the number one guy after Canelo at 168, Vel?
After 168,
it's wide
man.
Open. It's wide open, bro.
Oh man. So talk to me, Will.
Would you favor?
No, Will, no, don't help him. You said he's not the number one guy. Tell me who is.
Pacheco.
Pacheco could be. I don't know. Who you have to see because that'll be a good fight to see because what's going tough. But you don't know.
Yeah, I say why not? Why is he not the number one guy? Pacheco ain't never fought nobody. Who's Pacheco for?
He fought Selecki.
Like I say, nobody.
So the same thing as Billy. Who Billy fought?
That's what I say. Neither one of them Like I say, Wilton, neither one of them ain't fought nobody. So why can't he be the number one guy? We need to see who's the other guys up there at 168. I think and Billy beats Plant. I think that. I think M. Billy beats the guy who just beat Plant.
Resendez.
Yeah, I think he beats him too.
Number one guy.
Why can't M. Billy be the number one guy? Why can't he be?
I think, I mean, that's fine and dandy. The thing is that here's the thing. I would put M. Billy as one of the top guys at 168, and I think it would be dependent. I don't know Iglesias. I don't know who he is. I see he has an impressive knockout ratio, but I haven't seen him fight, so I wouldn't know about him. But I would put him. I would lump him in with M. Billy, Pacheco, and then also Charlo. Like those would be the three guys who I think are the top tier guys at 168. But it's a division that lacks a lot of talent. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say talent. I'm saying like the high end talent. Some divisions are top heavy where you got like notable guys. This one doesn't have that. 160 and 168 are both void of those, recognizable names and recognizable talents. So yeah, he could be up there. I just have to see a little bit more. Only reason I'm a little bit skeptical on him because I did see him in a fight where he just looked bad and he got dropped, and he just wasn't impressive. This fight right here, he caught the guys early. Selecki is a little shot more. It's kind of like Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer's coming off those fights that he had, a little bit more vulnerable now. Selecki just got knocked out by Pacheco. And so he's coming into this fight. That was the first time that somebody stopped him. And it wasn't that it was a quick turnaround to him entering that ring. But what about you, Tyler? You think that you like M. Billy's chances at 168? Is he going to be a player there to you?
Yeah, like you guys were saying, I would like to see him against Resendez. Since Resendez just beat Plant. Plant's coming off a loss. You got Jaime Munguia. I would say Resendez for me. That I would like to see that the most, just because of Resendez' performance against Caleb Plant. So it's coming off a nice win. So why not?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. They're gonna because Resendez, he's either gonna fight Plant again or he's gonna fight Charlo, probably because they're on that other side over there. But that would be a good litmus test to see what M. Billy does. Now, as we go to the predictions, we don't have any predictions for next week. Like I said, Vale's gonna be back in Detroit over there in the Motor City. You know what I'm saying? He think he a little Motor City Cobra. You know what I'm saying? A little Tommy Hearns around here. So he's gonna go back to his hometown, 8 Mile area. You know what I'm saying? Vale, he's a shot caller up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we have to follow me and all that. What was that show?
You and M gonna hang out? You and M gonna be posted?
I don't know Eminem. I don't know none of them.
He over there BMF. That's the Vale BMF.
I don't know them. I don't got nothing to do with them, man.
What about Trick? You gonna go hang out with Trick?
Nah, Vale gonna put that work in. You gonna check in and no flies on.
Yeah, hopefully I ain't been away too long, and I have to check in. But I think I've still got the I'm still considered from the hometown.
Nah, this is Vale, Joe. Vale is so hardcore. I seen the man one time.
Stop, dude.
Hey, look, he put a bullet through a phone just because he can prove that he called the shots. You understand what I'm saying?
I love that. As far as Vale, he's the man, bro.
Yeah, man, he called me shots. Now, so the predictions, man. We had several last week. I want to say it was 5 of them. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Last week, these were the predictions in terms of who was saying who was going to win by which round and so on and so forth. So you got Shelton, you got Vale, and you got myself, Will Bernstein. Now, Ty, if you want to go ahead and get in on this, you more than welcome to do so, as well. And so here right now, if you add those totals up, I am the top dog. You understand what I'm saying? I went ahead and predicted. I got 1 point for the Herndon fight because my man did win. Selecki fight, my man won. It wasn't the round that I said, but he still won. Chavez, I got 3 because I called it a decision. The Corticus fight, the Torticus and Ramirez, I call that one. I didn't get the Farmer fight because I said that Farmer was going to win. But you see what you guys have on the side over here. I would love for you to participate, Ty, to see if you can go ahead and finish in second place, because we all know I'm the grand champion when it comes to these things. Right? You know what I'm saying? I was going through Mexico. They kept yelling out El Gran Campeón. I didn't know what they meant, but it just seemed like it was a pleasant term.
You only 1 point up, brother. You only 1 point up. Me and Val is on your heels. We on your heels, man.
I don't want you. You don't say anything to me, sir. Remember, you losing. So losers can't talk to the winner. Okay, so that's
true. That's true. My bad.
Okay. All right, now got some big news, man, that just took place this week. Man, I've been catching a lot of different interviews with the Normans, with the Haneys, and all that type of stuff. So it came to a head on Thursday, going into Friday. Bill and Brian Norman Sr. got into it. It looked ugly for a second, then they mended their differences. And then ultimately, when the smoke cleared, you had this right here. Devin Haney will meet Brian Norman Jr. in November, pre-op season, Lions only. So that's going to be great. Devin is the only one of the very few guys who's doing things like this. Had a hit list. Teofimo Lopez, sir. Can we get that smoke? He ran, put his boots on, put his little shoes on and ran. Shakur has a fight coming up. We all know Tank not fight anybody. We know what Boots did. He's at 154. I'm not going to say he dug Devin, but I did certainly think that he didn't really want to fight with Brian Norman. He's going up to bigger and better things at 154. And so Brian Norman, it was actually number 5 on this list. If you look and see the other guys, but this is a tremendous list right here. For this young man in this era, in this day and age, after the Ryan Garcia fight, all of the scrutiny that he's faced, to still want to prove that he's the best, I got to commend the young man. So first and foremost, shout out to you, Devin Haney, Debo, Bill Haney, all of you guys. Brian Norman, man, this is a very, very intriguing matchup. I'm going to promote this as much as I can. I want all casual fans to support this because we don't have this anymore. Like, rarely do we have guys who have these lion hearts. So first off, congratulations. Thank you. Appreciative of the fact that you got these 2 young lions about to tangle in November. Now we got to figure out, what do you think, man? Does Dev have a chance, man? You saw the man put the man in the hospital in his last fight about 2 weeks ago. Nobody wants this Brian Norman smoke. T.O. didn't want the Brian Norman smoke. He said Boots put them boots on and ran. Does Devin have a chance going right directly to the guy who put somebody who has concussive power? Does he have a chance, Bill?
I mean, it ain't like he put Boots to sleep. He put Jin Sasaki to sleep, but it was a knockout of the year though. But it's a gutsy move by Devin Haney, and I think he does have a chance. I mean, I don't know why we talking like he doesn't, you know.
Well, yeah, that's a question.
Because I feel like we know way more about Devin Haney than we know about Brian Norman. What we know about Brian Norman is only what our eyes tell us versus his competition. It's just that he put down some guy. Like the Santillan fight does say a lot. I mean, he put Santillan out in that fight. But Devin Haney has been more. We know more about him on the top level and what he can do against the top level, and I think that's going to be key. And plus, when you consider what he went through with the Ryan Garcia, and then his last fight with Ramirez, I feel like I think Devin Haney is he's gonna have his antennas up defensive wise, and I think he could dominate this fight. But the thing is, I feel like eventually Norman is gonna catch him, and that's gonna be the problem. I think Devin Haney can dominate this fight from beginning to whatever, to 10th, 11th round, and if he makes the distance, he can dominate the whole distance. I don't think Brian Norman can really outbox Devin Haney, but I do think he can. One thing about Brian Norman, though, that I just see looking at him and versus the competition that he has, is that he's patient on waiting on that shot. He's like a counter puncher, and he loves that left hook. And eventually, he's going to land one of those counter shots on Devin Haney, and he's going to put Devin Haney to sleep.
Terrell Cameron says, great observation. Thank you, sir. And he says, my opinion, no, sir. So he doesn't think Dev stands a chance. I'm going to put the link in there for you, Terrell, if you want to share your thoughts. Greatly appreciate that. We always love to hear the views and opinions of people that are listening in. If you haven't subscribed, Terrell, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, Ty has his information in the chat as well, and that's in this corner podcast. All right, so what about you, Sheldon? What do you think? You think that Devin Haney has a chance in this fight?
Of course he does. Devin Haney has a chance in any fight. Devin Haney is a boxer. He can box. Now, the one thing I do love about Devin Haney, you can say all you want, but the one thing you cannot say Devin Haney ducked anyone. Devin Haney will get in the ring and fight. He may not win, but he will get in there and fight. Now, does he have a chance against Norman? Of course he does. And I'm a know him and his dad personally. I'm a huge Norman fan. But I think Devin definitely has a chance because Devin can box. And the problem with a power puncher, does he have the footwork necessary? Does he have the necessary to set the shot up to get it off? Because you can have the power. If you don't have the delivery system, it doesn't matter. Can't get the shot there. So we've seen Brian Norman get better and better. But Devin Haney has clearly fought better competition than Brian Norman. I don't think Devin Haney has fought anyone that punches as hard as Brian Norman. And I don't think that Brian Norman has fought anybody who boxes as well as Devin Haney. So to me, that makes it like I give it 55-45 just because of Norman's power. If Norman can touch you, he can drop you. But Devin can box. So, yeah, it's a good fight. I can't wait to see it. I love the fight. And I applaud Devin Haney for taking the fight.
Got to. You got to. Talk to me, Ty. What you think, man?
Yeah, I agree with all you guys, man. Good points by everybody. Good fight. I'm going to side with Norman only because he's fought at that weight. You know, he's a champion at that weight. So don't get me wrong, though. Devin Haney, he's moving up. You know Devin Haney's skilled. You know he'll take it to his opponents. But I also, and I'm not going to compare his last performance to how he's going to fight against Norman, but I didn't see anything in his last fight. I just saw the man just using his footwork and just did what he had to do to get the W. So, and you see Brian Norman got a stoppage, you know, in another man's country, in his hometown. So I'm a side with Brian Norman on this, but I do like Shelton was saying, I believe Haney got the speed. He can definitely outbox Norman, but just the way he fought in his last fight, that's still a question in my head. Like, he's moving up to a bigger division. He's fighting a champion. So are you going to go in there and be like using your footwork again, trying to get the win, or are you going to go in there and take it to Norman? So those are a lot of questions I have. So, and if he takes it to Norman, I can see, you know, Norman can catch him with a big shot, and, you know, he can get rocked by that, and he may not, you know, I can see him recovering, but, you know, he could be on spaghetti legs. So I just got to ride with Brian Norman on this. I can't really say if it'll be a stoppage. Well, I'm going to just pick Brian Norman as the winner. I can't really say how it end yet, but I'm just going to go with Brian Norman.
Terrell says Norman has more skills than Ryan. Also, Terrell says, and Norman fight on angles, and Angle's footwork is on. So his footwork is on point. Here's the thing. First, I'm gonna go with the fact that I love both sides. Like, I like Norman Sr., I like Haney, Bill, I like Devin, and I like Brian. I just unfortunately, some of your favorite fighters have, they're going to clash. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, sometimes your favorite fighters are the only ones who have the machismo and the guts to want to fight the best. However, I don't think out of all of the options that the Normans had, I don't think Devin would have been the one that they wanted. More so, I think it's more of the opposite, where I think the Haney's feel like the footwork issue is going to be the detriment of Brian Norman. And Devin has always been one of those guys when it came to his peers. Like, he's always been classified as one of the upper echelon people. And I think that he's still looking at Brian Norman as somebody who, I'm the big dog and you the little pup. And so I'm going to show you the difference in, my skill set and yours. And I've been doing this at a high level a much longer time than you. And there's certain levels that you haven't gotten to and that you don't know anything about. And I'm going to show you in November. So I think that that's what the Haneys are looking at, especially that footwork. Because if you look, since I've been watching Brian Norman, I've never seen him fight somebody who's a mover or somebody who uses their feet, especially to the degree of a Devin Haney. So I can only imagine how that's going to be inside the ring. Most of the guys he's faced, the Sansalines, the guy that he faced, Sasaki, like, they like to come at you. Even the Cuevas fight, it's like they trying to bring the fight to you and they not doing too much moving. And he's had success against that particular type of fighter. At the world-class level, that could be the difference between a victory and taking an L. So I like Devin's chances. When I look at both guys, as far as just his movement, the thing is, though, is that he's going to have to fight more like he did against Regis as opposed to how he fought against Ramirez. When he fought Regis, he had him befuddled throughout the whole fight, frustrated. But I don't think Norman Jr.'s feet is as bad as Regis' feet was. But I want to see what happens if Norman's Jr. gets frustrated. I've seen him, in fights. Now, he's faced adversity a little bit here and there, but to that degree, when you're frustrated and you're trying to figure out a different way to get to this guy who's so elusive. But like you say, one shot could end it all, man. But that's what we're going to be on the edge of our seats for. And that's the reason why this is a good fight. When's the last time we had a fight that we wanted to see where you had two dudes or at least one guy coming off a sensational victory and then somebody calling the other guy out and then they actually fight? Like, we rarely see that nowadays. Terrell says now he's fighting somebody his side after rehydration. Okay. Me too. And then he says bad Devin. He is a bad man. Devin is great. Was it commentator? I think that's what you're saying. But we'll see, man. Any other thoughts on this fight, man? I mean, I don't think y'all giving this fight enough, props, man. Like this. So man, going to
sleep. Where's this fight happening?
November. So you got.
Is this not June? This is July, August, September, October. You got 4 months. It's not time to give this fight no juice yet. We got bigger fights in front of this fight. We got bigger fights in front of this fight.
What's the bigger fight than this, though, sir?
We got a fight coming up on September 13th that's bigger than this.
What fight is that?
We got a fight. We got a fight Canelo and Crawford. We got a fight coming up in July.
Let me tell you why that's not. It could be as far as a claim, but as far as two dudes who are in the same weight class, not you coming all the way up from 147 to fight me at 160. No, we don't. It could be. Vanilla Ice had a bigger song than Big Daddy Kane. But we all know, like, you like quality stuff. Big Daddy Kane is way better. And this is a way better, more intriguing fight to me because you got two young lions who fight each other and we want to see it. This something y'all just came up with something out of y'all had. You know what I'm saying? Hello and Crawford. Man, come on, man.
I can't wait until the fight. I can't wait till September the 14th so I can come on here, number one, and laugh at you. And Bud gonna beat this dude. Bud's gonna beat this dude.
I'm
He's
laughing
gonna beat
because
this dude and probably
because
beat
people
this dude
feel
up.
like this Crawford guy who keep fighting dudes when they something wrong with them. But anyway, I'm gonna get time for that. The Ben Whitaker question is gonna be this right here.
Hey, Bell, hold on, Bell.
You
hear him trying to sneak that
what
in?
everybody's saying right here, as far as
You
those
hear him
who
trying to sneak that in there,
Bell? They give him 25%.
You hear him trying to sneak that in there? He's still mad, Bell. He's still mad, Bell. Bell, it's been 2 years. He's still mad, Bell. Come on. He's still mad. Don't be mad.
Hey, man. Hey, Shelton, let the wound heal.
Had a 75% chance to beat Devin Haney, according to those who voted. Thank you so much for your support, whoever voted. Also, you got a fight that's coming up September 20th. This was 5-10 minutes before we came on that they announced that Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Mann, their second fight is going to be set for September 20th. If they didn't say what weight that they're going to be fighting at, they don't have a venue or anything like that just yet. But are you excited about the number 2 fight, Vail?
I mean, I wasn't really excited about the first one, but based off of what they did, I'm gonna watch it because I know it's gonna be exciting, and hopefully, because Eubank won the first fight, won the first fight, he can negotiate a better weight. It may not be 168, but he can negotiate a better weight where he's a little more comfortable, and he'll probably beat the brakes off of Conor Mann.
So you favor him if he's at a comfortable weight?
Yes.
Okay.
I favor Chris Eubank Jr.
Sounds good. So thank you for answering the question. What about you, Sheldon? What do you think about this? Are you excited for number 2?
Really, bro? So you want to fight Chris Eubank Jr. again, but Boots just moved up to 154. You don't want to fight him? I mean, come on, man. If, like Bell said, if they let Chris Eubank Jr. negotiate a 162, 163 pound weight, he gonna beat the brakes off you, bro. He beat you when he was depleted. He gonna destroy you if he's healthy.
Okay.
Why don't you go fight Boots, man? That's more up your alley. You're around a 54 pounder right now. Go fight Boots, man. Do something substantial. Stop trying to fight a guy who's out of your weight class. Making this novelty fight, man. Nobody wants to see that again. I mean, it was cool. The first fight was a great fight. Yeah, great. Nobody in the United States wants to see that again. Saw it once. Good enough. Go fight somebody we want to see you fight, bro. They say you kind of the destroyer, man. Okay, well, go fight Boots. Go fight Virgil. Go fight them guys.
You're going to have 5 million reasons to go ahead and fight this guy at the minimum.
I stand. Oh, hold on. Then I stand corrected. Fight the guy.
Yeah, that's all it is. What about you, Ty? You excited for it? Because I know you liked that first one.
Yeah. The first fight to me that was like, you could argue, to me, in my opinion, that was like fight of the year, man. Both guys gave it all they had. You could see they were exhausted, they were tired, they fought their hearts out. So I'm all for it, man. Y'all love to see it again. I just wanted to add what you were saying, like as far as Brian Norman and Devin Haney. I could say that press conference is going to be crazy, especially with Norman Sr. and Bill Haney. I could see them, just going at it every press conference. So I can see that, being a comedy right there. So, but this fight, man, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, it went off the rails on either Wednesday or Thursday, where they kind of got a little personal, and then they got it together because it seemed like cooler heads prevailed. And they began to be more cordial with one another. They still, saying little slick things here and there. But the thing is, you see the level of respect that they both have for one another. And I think that both guys, they'll hold it together during the press conference. But like you said, it's going to be kind of hilarious. I'm looking forward to this fight because the last fight was so intriguing. But if Eubank gets a comfortable weight, I agree with what everybody's saying as far as I don't think that he'd be able to compete with Eubank. But hopefully he doesn't have to sink himself all the way down and come in like a dead man walking. Because like I said, even when we discussed this previously, when I saw him perform and he was so he wasn't hydrated at all, that's the best I ever seen anybody who was dehydrated like that, fighting through adversity and actually winning all of those exchanges throughout the course of the fight. And but he just looked like a dead man walking, man. But shout out to both guys, man. Hopefully this will be, you know, just as good as the first one. Also, Vel, I want to ask you this question. I didn't understand what Max, because sometimes some dudes be trying to go too far with their comparisons of fights and things like that. And Max said that the Crawford Canelo fight sees shades of Marvin Hagler versus Roberto Duran in 1983. Can you see any comparison between this fight and Marvin Hagler versus Roberto Duran?
Man, I'll say this. When they said that Max Kellerman was going to commentate the fight, I was like, man, Max is back, you know, back in boxing. But this, nah, man, nah. First off, Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran, the only similarity is what? Roberto Duran that he moved up to fight Marvin Hagler. And even that's not even that similar because Roberto Duran had just he moved up from what, 147 or was he at 154? I think he was at 154 before he went to 160. Because I know he went back there. So he moved up like one weight class. It wasn't like 3 weight classes or anything like that. Plus, both guys were, even though Duran was the older guy, I think he was the older guy, but he had a longer career. I know that for sure than Marvin Hagler at the time. They still was both in their primes. I don't think either of these guys, even though they operate on the top level, I don't think either of these guys are really in their prime. They're kind of along the lines of when Leonard and Hearns rematched each other, or when Leonard rematched Duran. You know, I think they're along those lines. So I don't see the similarity.
No, not at all. What about you, fellas? You see any similarities between this and yeah, because you remember Duran went up and fought Davey Moore, and after he beat Davey Moore, he went up to fight Marvin Hagler. So he was at 154. Before y'all go ahead and touch base on that, let me see what my boy Terrell talking about. He says salute and thanks for reading my comments. No problem, good fella. But just make sure you like, subscribe to both of the channels, good brother. He says Tevin Farmer, salute to you. Plus, you still needed in the sport. Keep your head up. He didn't look so hot after that, man. I didn't like the blinking that Tevin was doing, you know, when he got up. And so that was concerning. But anyway, what do you got? You fellas, matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the next question on here. Because that's hogwash right here. But this right here, Canelo, he was clowning at Crawford about his resume. You know, it kind of got explosive a little bit at that particular juncture of the press conference. But he's saying the man resume is weak. Weak resume. Who have you beaten? Everybody you beat. Let me tell you what Canelo was saying. Everybody you beat, the Indongos, you fight dudes like that, man. Yeah, you accomplished. But who have you beaten? Everybody you faced was old and washed up. They getting out of car crashes and stuff like that. They long layoffs. You fight Madrimov. You see what Ortiz did to Madrimov. Like, who have you beaten? Huh? Now you want to fight me? I'm like Larry Holmes, flabby and sick. Now you want me? Now I know that I might be a little bit past it. So that's what he's saying. What do you think about that? What do you think about what Canelo said?
Hey, now Errol Spence is not a nobody. You know, Kell Brook is not a nobody.
2-year layoff. Everybody you mentioned, 2-year layoff.
Oh, it was like a year and a half, something like that.
Is that ideal going into the biggest? It was longer than that.
I'll say this. What was the odds on Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence?
Was that ideal? No. Go keep going with this weak resume. I'm trying to tell you what Canelo was saying to the man.
It don't matter because once Crawford beat Canelo, it's gonna be one other weak person on there.
Yeah, because Canelo looked the same to you in these last few fights. You said it yourself, sir. I said it. This is the reason why you give him a chance. So now you're trying to tell me that his resume is, that Canelo is peak form. Is that what you're trying to tell me, sir?
Neither of these guys are peak form to me.
Exactly. So that's,
but it still matters if you let somebody welterweight come up and beat you.
At this particular point, that's like
still matters.
Michael Spinks beating up Larry Holmes when he's flabby and sick.
No,
the same Larry Holmes, man. You Mike Tyson whooping Larry Holmes when he come on, man. This is not the same Canelo.
No, how long was Larry Holmes out the ring?
Huh?
Larry Holmes said he got off the couch to fight Mike Tyson, like, and it wasn't a 4 month or months of preparation. He wasn't even active, so it's not even the same comparison.
That wasn't the same Larry Holmes. This is not the same Canelo. Edgar Berlanga Canelo is not the same Canelo that fought in previous years. This is not even the same Canelo that fought John Ryder, sir. Stop it. Canelo is absolutely right. His resume is weak.
Then maybe Canelo should have fought David Benavidez. It's better over Canelo losing to David Benavidez than Terrence Crawford.
This is Canelo's resume is potent.
I know his resume is.
Crawford resume is ibuprofen. Talk to me, Ty. What's up? Do you agree with this right here?
I know.
Go ahead.
All right. I know a lot of people criticize Crawford's resume. So,
ibuprofen.
all right, but I don't agree. I don't agree with Canelo 100 because, all right, if Crawford's resume is so weak, I mean, why are you fighting him? Okay, he's ranked or whatever, or he's undisputed in 2 weight classes or whatever. Okay, but okay, I'll say this. Everybody can say Spence wasn't the same or whatever after the car accident, okay, but he still had 2 victories after the fact. He still stopped Ugas. He had all the major belts. So that was for undisputed, and Spence never been stopped before.
Barrios.
So I mean, you can say Sean Porter was at the end of his career, but we never seen Porter stopped or anything. He was still a 2-time champion. So no, I don't agree that his resume is weak. I mean, he still has some names on his resume. The Gamble fight, you could say Gamble was washed up years later, but when him and Crawford fought,
everybody, you remember Gamble was going through promotional issues. He's trying to get with 50 Cent. He couldn't get this promotion. He was off for about 1.5 years, man. Like it's the same thing. Let's go through this resume.
No. You said no. Will, you said 2 years. Look. Errol Spence fought Ordinas Ugas April 16, 2022, and he fought Terrence Crawford July 29, 2023. That's 15 months, sir. That's 1 year and 3 months, sir. That's not 2 years.
That's 15 months, right? Can I ask you a question?
That's not 2 years. Well, a year is 24 months, sir.
Okay. So he fought him.
2 years.
4 months, right? And so so how many fights did Errol Spence have from 2022 to 2023 when he fought Bud?
Yeah, 1 fight.
From 2022 until he fought Bud. And he fought Bud the summer of 2020. That's a long layoff, sir.
That's 15 months.
2022 to 2023? And you halfway through 2023, he fought Danny Garcia. So after he fights Danny Garcia, so we're talking about December 6th. After December 6th, 2020, his next fight is in
2022.
Then he has another long layoff. That's not ideal, sir.
That's a lot of bosses in general, though. That's a lot of bosses in general. A lot of guys are fighting once a year, or not all of them, but a lot of guys are like that, though.
So Bud's coming off a layoff right now. So are you saying that that Canelo shouldn't get credit if he beats Bud?
And Bud was only fighting once a year, too. Bud was only fighting once a year.
Porter
was 1 fight. Avenesian, once a year.
See, you see how the thing is when people get caught up and you have factual information that's being presented to them, and instead of just focusing in on the discussion that we're having, then you go to something else. What about this? And what about let's stay focused on what it is that we're talking about. Then you have other people chiming in, so you never get to the bottom of it. So I will go through. So we got Saul Canelo Alvarez. Let me just I just want to ask questions. Is Saul Canelo Alvarez in his prime right now?
No.
Madrimov. So is Madrimov? Who is Madrimov? Who's Madrimov's best victory that you've seen him have?
I don't even know.
George Ortiz. I never know anybody before he fought Crawford.
And in my humble opinion, that wasn't the same Errol Spence that he was fighting. Somebody who was coming in off a long layoff. Somebody who looked drained when he was fighting him. He looked disoriented. That's not him. And
Errol Spence.
Is David Avanesian a top welterweight, sir?
He was top 10 welterweight. Ranked at the time.
Was he a top welterweight?
He was ranked in the top 10.
Okay, so he's top 10 fighter. So again, nobody again. Sean Porter on his last leg.
No, it was not. Sean Porter was still in his. Nobody
is stretching the imagination. His father was
in his prime, man.
No, he was not in his prime. Kell Brook obviously hadn't fought at 47 in 4 years. We knew that he was washed up.
4 years? Is that accurate? Click on Kell Brook. Let's just check that out. I don't think that was 4 years.
Sir, you just, oh my God. So what if it's 3, sir? What if it was 3 years that he had? 2017.
That was 17.
So it's already.
It might be 4 years. Okay. All right. I got you.
So
3 years.
You keep like all these little technicalities, like all of this stuff means something. Oh, no, it wasn't 11 months. It was 10 months. Oh, okay. Like you're saying.
You said 2 years. 2 years and 15 months is very different.
For somebody who already struggles to make weight, you've been out of the ring. Come on, man. That's not even a question. Amir Khan, who's Kavalaska's biggest victory, sir? Oh, I rest my case. What about Amir Khan? Was he in his prime when he fought him? No, he was not. Jose Benavidez, one leg. We saw that the man had one leg. Nobody ever thought that Jeff Horn was anything outside of somebody who upset Manny Pacquiao. Many people think that they gave him the fight because they were fighting in Australia. Nobody knows anything about Noah Dongo. Felix Diaz, sir. But like, what?
Gold medalist.
Who did he be? Who's Felix Diaz's biggest victory?
I don't know. Gold medalist.
Okay, sir. So and it gets worse. Like it ain't even like we gonna go get any better when we go down here. So what Canelo is saying is what I said. The man resume is weak. It's like Kool-Aid. You put too much.
Canelo gonna be on his resume at the end of the day.
Oh, Canelo. That's why he's fighting him, and that's the reason why it's gonna take place because Bud has always done this, and this is the reason why what frustrates me is he always gets dudes when they at their least most effective part of their career. Everybody he fights like that. And he was doing that stuff to Spence when he fought Spence before. When he's sitting up there, oh, let me go and fight on Black Prime. Let's go ahead and do this fight together. He never do that with anybody else. But then as soon as he's trying to fight Errol Spence, he's buying so much time to let the fight, go on and on where I'm getting me a tune-up fight. He doesn't get a tune-up fight. I'm faking the negotiations. I pull out all that type of goofy stuff that he was doing. Then he ends up getting the victory, and then everybody ignore all the stuff that he was doing before the victory.
He still beat Errol Spence.
Yeah, man, nice a year.
He still beat the crap out of Errol Spence.
He did after all of that nonsense. That's the reason you got to appreciate somebody like Devin Haney who saw the dude get knocked out cold, and he said, "I want that guy right there." I'm not doing.
Devin Haney gonna get knocked out cold again by Brian Norton.
So then at least he got some dang old kahunas and not doing the nonsense that Bud was doing. That's the reason why I know how this fight is going to take place because just what Canelo said. Terrence Bud Crawford has the advantages over Canelo. That he can't beat Canelo. I don't know what he's going to do because he always finds a way to fight dude. As good as he is. I'm nobody saying he's not talented. He's very talented. But you always got to do these little shenanigans in order to get some gamesmanship over somebody in order to win. Man, if you don't get up out of here, man, shout out to Debo. That's Devin Haney. And also shout out to Brian Norman. And then dudes like Bud and Boots and, Tank and all of them, man, forget y'all, man. All right, let me go ahead and move forward, right? Also, you got Keyshawn, man. He's under fire because the fans are blasting him because he put out a tweet talking about the truth will reveal itself. That's his apology for missing weight. Do you think he's playing victim by saying the truth is going to reveal itself? Talk to me. Is that an appropriate?
Yeah, because it's like, what truth, man? You missed weight. You came in a fight laughing. You got into a fight. Those are all decisions you made. That's not. If anybody was influenced in any of those decisions, you still have fought for allowing all that to happen. So yeah, he's playing victim.
What about you, Ty? What you think?
Yeah, I didn't know he issued apology, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you miss weight. You was talking trash to a guy, that you weren't supposed to be focusing on, and he ended up being the main event. You fighting backstage. We seen it with our own eyes. So I mean, I know we had cases where fighters miss weight and stuff, but you missed weight by what, 4 pounds? You the champion. So I mean, I don't know what he means by truth will reveal itself. So I mean, that was bad all the way around. And this is your town. Your brother's on the card. You supposed to be an example. So I don't see what would reveal itself.
Whose camp is he under? Like, who's his trainer?
Bomac.
Who's Bomac's pride people?
That doesn't matter. It's like saying,
I'm just asking, sir. I don't know.
yeah, you do know. You do know.
Who's his pride people? So anyway,
stay on topic, sir. We talking about Keyshawn Davis, not talking about Terrence Crawford.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and keep moving on. Keyshawn, man, I believe in you, good brother. Just go ahead and suck this up, man. Just be a man about yours. Apologize and move forward, but don't play victim by trying to blame it on any other entities other than yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I messed up. And I did that. I'm gonna make sure that it won't happen again. And then hopefully you'll get back into the good graces of those people who are working your career. And then you'll be able to mend those relationships. And then also you'll be able to get those fights back in your area. Because that was something that was reason why we was rocking out with you so much, because you had that heart and you had the pulse of the 7 cities area. I had rarely seen anything like that, Vale. When we went to that fight and that energy that was there, like that's hard to buy. That's rare. You know what I mean? The only thing I liking it too, I never had a chance to see Roy Jones actually in Pensacola, but I did see Roy Jones in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is along that coast. And they used to go out there and ride out for Roy. Like I said, I saw that fight June 5th. I want to say it was 1999 or 2000 out there at that Coliseum. And when I was out there, it's just the appreciation, the joy that people had of seeing somebody that was kind of close to their region. And they would just roll out Roy. He'd go to the casino. Everybody's just like, yeah, Roy, this and that. And just that relationship and that rapport that he had with that region, it's hard to come by. So, don't do that sort of thing, because all of those guys who did have things like that, I couldn't imagine like a Michael Vick who's from that region. Even when Michael Vick got into the situation with the dogs, I thought that he was wrongly done. I thought they did him wrong in that situation, because they said that they were following him for several years. And I'm like, that's Michael Vick. Tell him to knock it off. Like, you don't have to just follow him and then have him get in more trouble. Just sir, we see that you're doing this, you need to stop. And if you continue to do it, then you follow along. But nobody ever did that. Nobody ever intervened. But when everything happened and he did his time, he took full accountability of what transpired. No excuses. Well, I thought he had a lot of leeway to make excuses, but he never did. And that's something, and people will ride out with you more if you just do just that, have some accountability about yourself, sir. But I believe in you, Keyshawn. Also, Ryan Garcia, I'm not even going to read all the stuff that he said, but he went in on Oscar De La Hoya, talking about his sexuality and all type of stuff, man. He's upset. I don't even know what he's upset about. Maybe you can enlighten me. I don't know, but he's mad at Golden Boy. And so, De La Hoya just said he's bipolar and whatnot. Real. What are your thoughts on what it is that you sent me earlier, Bill?
That's right, man. He's bipolar. And De La Hoya is bipolar also. It's just that De La Hoya could better express himself. And he's not in the limelight like that. He's kind of in the limelight as a promoter, but not as a fighter. And he's not that young. So I think it's not a good look for Ryan Garcia to be yapping at his promoter, because other promoters are seeing that. And if another, let's say he ends his relationship with Golden Boy Promotions, a promoter is going to pick him up because he's money, but they're going to look at him a certain way. They're not going to always care about him, look out for his best interest. He's just going to be looked at as a money grab. And to be fair, I understand that the business between him and Oscar De La Hoya and their relationship hasn't always been golden. At the same time, De La Hoya, the difference between these two, just like we stated earlier about Mike Tyson and Chavez Jr. De La Hoya already has a legacy. It's set in stone. Ryan Garcia is trying to build one. So if Ryan Garcia stops today, he'll never be a De La Hoya, but De La Hoya will always be remembered, and that's the difference. So be careful, Ryan.
What about you, Ty? Are you familiar with the story?
Nah, I did see somewhat of the tweet. Did he post a picture with De La Hoya and fishnets and all that? Because I did see that, but I don't know if it was Ryan that actually posted that, or did he just? Because I saw something with De La Hoya and Fisher. I mean, I know it's old, but I didn't know if Ryan actually tweeted that because I saw something come up with.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I just all I saw is what Vail sent.
Yeah, just this screenshot. That's what I saw.
Okay, well, I'll say this. I don't think Ryan and De La Hoya didn't always have the best relationship. I think it really could have started like when Ryan fought Tank, because De La Hoya was saying he told Ryan not to follow with that clause and everything, and Ryan still took the fight, and De La Hoya ditched him and all that after the fight wasn't there. So I think their relationship was sour, for a long time, and then. I think it was when he fought Haney when Ryan went up to, at the press conference and he called De La Hoya and B-Hop out right then and there, and now he's still going on it. So it's obviously him and De La Hoya don't have a good relationship, but we seen Ryan in this episode before, with the Haney build up. He was going crazy, out of his mind. Everybody thought something was wrong with the guy, and he's still showing that. So, man, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What are you gonna say, Bill?
Oh no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm just saying we seen Ryan do this before, so who knows what's up with the guy.
All facts, man. It's nothing for me to add on to the conversation. Ryan, hopefully you get it together, good brother. And also stay off the PEDs. You know what I'm saying? That's y'all have
he won't.
Yeah, stay off the PEDs. All right. Last but not least, just got a few things left. Are you familiar with the opponent that Westcon's going to be facing next? Because this guy has a huge knockout ratio. David Morrell's opponent. Are you familiar with that guy?
I got research with who he is, and
no, it's no biggie. I was just pointing that out, because I saw that Brain Magazine just putting up the knockout percentages. So I just wanted to make sure young man's careful. Last but not least, man. You fellas referenced Mike Tyson a lot today during this episode, although he wasn't really necessarily directly one of the topics for us to discuss. But since he was mentioned so much, my last question for you today, man, is Mike Tyson the best fighter from New York? Mike Tyson, the greatest fighter from New York.
I mean, definitely in the conversation. I have to Google fighters from New York. He's definitely in that conversation. But we talk about New York has a vast history too, and I think that's the thing that's we're gonna have to rank Mike Tyson against.
Mm-hmm. Off the top, I would say, unless I don't know where Sugar Ray Robinson was from. Is he from?
Probably South. I think he's from the South.
Okay. Yeah, he was born in Atlanta. I know he was all over the place. And so, I would think Mike is up there. But I just thought I'd point that out, that question right there. Anything else, as we close this episode out and you get your hip hop question, anything that you want to discuss as far as what you saw this weekend, the good, the bad, and the ugly? What did you impressed you the most? What was the most concerning thing? And what are you looking forward to moving forward? And we'll close out with that.
The most impressive thing was Brian Norman knocking out Tevin Farmer. The thing that hurt them. The thing that
Schofield.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Schofield. Floyd Schofield knocking out Tevin Farmer. Actually annoyed me the most too, because I didn't want to see Tevin Farmer get beat like that. So. But it was a good performance though. Well earned. What's
the most disappointing thing, sir?
Tevin Farmer being knocked out.
It was. It was.
I mean, just
Julio Cesar Chavez performance. What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I have to agree with Val. That was the most shocking. I was expecting more of a fight, but Farmer got caught. He didn't recover. So, like I said, hats off to Schoolfield. But I was gonna ask, did you guys see the fight with the guy? I think his name was Avius Griffin. He was a fighter. Did you see that fight?
Yeah, he got stopped.
Yeah, he got stopped in the last. Yeah, so I was watching that fight. I wasn't familiar with the guy, but when I saw Bomac as his trainer, I was like, okay, the guy had a nice record.
So, nice story too. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I just had to be looking down on my phone or something. And when I looked up, I was like, dang, look like he's getting ready to go through the rope. And it's like I think he was more of him being exhausted and maybe hurt too at the same time, and he just couldn't get up. And his nose and everything was busted up. So I was like, dang, that was a tough way to go out. It was very last round. You know what I mean? You could have made it out, but yeah, that was a tough way to go out. But it seemed like when they were showing backstage, the weigh-in, the face-off, it looked like he was doing a lot of trash talking too. So, but he came up short. So, but were you guys familiar with him though prior to this?
No, that was the first time I saw the kid. Was yesterday. His footwork, he's very green, and he was fighting against a fighter in Rodriguez who had some experience, had a few setbacks, but he still was professional. And it looked like that Rodriguez was in a weight class or two small. You know what I'm saying? But he still was just had that veteran know-how and experience, and he was catching your guy quite a bit. Who did you have winning up to that point? Did you have Rodriguez winning, or did you have Griffin winning before the stoppage?
I think I would have Rodriguez winning. I mean, it looked like it was more competitive early, I think, but I think that Rodriguez was definitely winning up to the when he got stopped.
Yeah, let's take a look. That was a good one. Did you see that fight, Val? Rodriguez.
No, it's funny because I heard about it too as it was happening. Like a lot of folks were shocked and they were like, "Man, this Rodriguez guy is something." And I was like, I hadn't seen it, but I had to check that out.
I remember seeing him before, but they said he had a setback and then he was off for a bit and then he came back. Yeah, that was a good fight, man. That matter of fact, that card was a good card. What about Holly Holm? You get a chance to see that, Ty?
Nah, I didn't see it. I only saw Tevin Farmer's fight in Schoolfield, and then I saw the fight that we just discussing. But I didn't see the co-main or the main. I fell out, man. When I woke up, Jake Paul.
Yeah, I fell out
talking to the commentator. So
yeah, I saw Jake this morning. I saw the Ramirez fight last night, and then that was all she wrote for me. What about you, Val? Did you see Holly Holm?
No, I didn't see it. I heard about it, and I'm like, she a little long in the tooth to be coming back. But congrats that she won her fight, because I didn't think she was going to win now.
Nah, Holly Holm is cold. Holly Holm is she has the know-how. You can tell the difference between her and her opponent is the fact that she's a true professional. A consummate professional, just the little herky-jerky movements, knowing when to punch, knowing when to clinch, being too slippery. You're going to have some stuff to be Holly Holm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be out there trying to, wing shots at her, just be too overpowering, because she's going to have something for that. That was very impressive, especially for somebody that age. It was just impressive. Just if she just won that fight, you would have been like, Holly Holm, get busy. You know what I'm saying? But she obviously she's not the most powerful lady in the world, but she is very effective, man. Very effective. I like what I saw. Shout out to her. Yeah, so for me, the good things that I saw yesterday, obviously, was Schofield. Very impressed with his performance. Shout out to that kid right there. I didn't know what to expect going into that fight. I thought that I was leaning towards Firm because everything that I'm seeing in terms of the press conferences and things like that, Farmer just seems so more professional. He seemed so more sure of himself, and Schofield would just seem like a little kid. And so I'm like, oh man, this is not going to end well. But like I said, the little fella, he saw the shot that he was looking for and immediately landed it. And once he did that, it was all bad for Tevin Farmer. Hopefully for Tevin Farmer's sake, I don't want to see Tevin Farmer fight anymore, personally. Not that from the standpoint, my concern, because that was, like I said, I didn't like the blinking after he was hit. And then I also know when he had that title fight at 130 that he was in the hospital for a little bit as well. So we don't want the young man to, have any lingering issues. Some other things that I was happy with this weekend was also the announcement of the fight between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Again, this is the first time I'm seeing, young fighters in their prime. Somebody comes in and has an impressive victory, then somebody calls them out who's at a high level that's a recognizable name, and they actually go through and have the fight like signed, sealed, and delivered for us to salivate over. That's what I was hoping from Boots Ennis. When you had Brian Norman having that devastating knockout of Jin Sasaki, I was hoping that Boots would be in attendance saying, that dude, he's doing that to that man right there. He can't do that to me. I want that belt. He's holding my strap, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And to me, that would have made for an even hotter summer than it already is. But we got it from Devin Haney. The letdown for me this week would be the Jake Paul fight. Seeing Chavez in there moving and grooving, like when he wanted to fight, he was in there doing his thing at like the 9th and 10th round, but then he'll let up. And I just don't want to see that. We don't need that in the sport of boxing. We already don't need these type of fights, let alone having a fight where you got it looked like it's being thrown. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's actually getting paid off. And so that's what I got, man. Last but not least, the only reason I'm going kind of sluggish is because my computer is going slow. It's acting real sluggish right now. It's the sluggish, buggish bone. All right, we're gonna skip that right there. You recognize those individuals right there, Bill?
Yeah, Biggie Pop, Left Eye, and Aaliyah. Yeah,
that's real right there, right? The first question that I have, Bill, do you have all of these albums right here? If not, which ones don't you have?
I don't have Showbiz and AG. I don't have that KRS One, even though I've heard it. There's a lot of albums I've heard, but I don't have.
Oh man, we got to stop giving you hip hop questions. That's a classic, man.
Hey, look. It's funny because I can tell you it's interesting because I do have Group Home. Got Group Home. I've heard that Master Ace. Most of these I've heard. Like I've heard The Top of the World. I heard that, and actually my sister used to own that. So yeah.
You don't have Top of the World.
I didn't own it, but my sister had it. So of course I heard it and I listened to it.
I'm
as a teenager.
My own. Look at mine. Pimp and my own around. Yes, I'm a pimp. Then Ty, what's your favorite CD on this list right here?
And I'm not even familiar with a lot of them, man. So I'm gonna have to just say Tupac. I heard some Old Dirties. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go with Tupac.
Man, these some bangers on here, man. You got that Goody right there. You got that Ray over there in the corner right there.
You got Do It Die.
Rankwan's the first one, right?
Yes, sir.
Rankwan, okay.
Only built for Cuban links. Classic.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you though, and then this right here is that slept on that Outkast. It's him and I. Aquemini. That ain't the one, but that's
wait a minute, where's Outkast?
That's not
Goody Mob, that first one.
Goody Mob right here.
Yeah, what Outkast you talking about?
That's not Outkast. Who is this right here? I thought that was two.
Oh, that's Dog Pound.
No, right here.
That's
in green, Dog Pound right here. But anyway, the
green. That's Alcoholics. That's Alcoholics, I think.
My beat might have had the coldest one on here, man. That might be the coldest one. But here's the question of the day. All of those, I might have to go ahead and bump some of these. You got the Cool G rap on there. You got the cocktails on there. Woo! But
I didn't even notice my deep. So,
what about that E40? Right, that's E40 Cola CD right there.
I posted about him not too long ago, man. I hate E40, man. That's just me. I hate E40, man. I know he got a lot of albums and everything, but I hate E40.
Hey, I'll tell you this, Ty. Just listen to on this album. Listen to something like listen to The Bumble.
Listen, just just open that one up right there and just let it play. You that'll turn you into a fan right there. I get it because I remember when I was in college and dudes was listening to E40 because he used to come out with a lot of music. And I wasn't a big fan either because he tried to put too many words in his rap. You know what I'm saying? Talking real fast. And then I'm like, oh my God. But then when he came out with Practice Looking Hard, and then he had I say I wanna be saved.
Oh yeah, that.
But anywho, here's the hip hop question. Vail is going back to Detroit this week, man. Again. Calling shots, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to figure if Vail is Vail a true homer or is he gonna keep it real when I put this question up here? And Ty wants you to chime in as well. One of these gotta go. Who would you take off the list?
Hey, I ain't taking the hometown kid off. I'm taking off Biggie.
Talk to me, sir. This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy. Go tell us why, man. How is that possible?
Hey, I don't need Biggie because I already got Pac, I got Nas, I got Jay-Z.
Nah, these guys right. No,
I got Coogee Rap, I got Big Pun.
Come on, talk to me, Ty. Talk some sense into this fella, man.
I'm just gonna say Easy E, and I say that because now I know he was the top guy and NWA and all that, but from I wasn't too deep in his music or anything like that. So, but from seeing the movie, I know there could be inconsistencies in the movie, wrong in the movie. From what I understand, he didn't write a lot of his raps. I don't know if that's true or not. Or
Dre writes the rhymes that I say.
Yeah, that's true. That's Ren and Cube, that wrote his stuff. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Easy, but also he's the guy whose music I haven't really heard. I know all Biggie, I know Pac, I know Eminem, I love Eminem. So for me, it's just gonna have to be Easy.
This is blasphemous, folks. Obviously, that guy in that far right-hand corner, get him the F out of here, please. This is no question about it. You got Pac right there. Obviously, Pac, man. He gave you way too much in a short period of time. Pac is the biggest star on here. You know what I mean? Movies. You got, the CDs. He was just bigger than life. You know what I'm saying? And he was a spokesman for the people who he considered thugs, but the people who were like the downtrodden group. He's trying to galvanize those people. I wish Pac was still around because I think that he would have got delved off into more politics and things like that, and he had the capabilities and ability to do so. If you think about all of the guys who are no longer here, who were so influential and who like stood for something, like all of those dudes go early, and it seemed like the ones who ain't about as much, I'm not gonna say nothing about anything, but they don't have that same appeal. They tend to linger and last a lot longer for whatever reason. Not trying to cause no conspiracy theories or anything like that. Biggie, come on, man. Biggie, man, Brook Lawn. Like Biggie is just one of those guys. When he came out, I can't take somebody off the list. Like Tupac and Biggie just have to be there. So when we looked at these images, I'm gonna tell you something. When I was coming up, at one point, those two dudes is like a lockdown corner that you put in the backfield, and nobody's gonna go over there because they scared to throw the ball over there. What I mean by that, the comparison is when them dudes came out, it got to a point when I would talk to guys, and either they would be listening to Tupac or Biggie. It's like, no, I don't listen. I listen to Biggie. But most people was listening to Tupac. I've never seen it like that. Like it, and then mind you, you got cold dudes that's out. 8 Ball and MJG. You got Cool G Rap. You got this dude's out. But they're like, man, that's all I listen to is this, or I listen to that. So I gotta have. Nobody was that influential, in hip hop ever as those two guys were. So you got to have them on the list. And M, to me, has a large fan base, but M is a person who, if he's going to be great in his field, then he's going to have a larger fan base just based on demographics. So, and for me, let me go to Easy. Easy E, man. So influential. You got the guys who came up like during that period. He was the lead guy, even though he didn't write the rhymes, but he was the lead person of that prominent hip hop group called NWA. Like he was the face of it. You know what I'm saying? So he can't go anywhere. And I couldn't, who else could you have put and slid in that slot of Eazy-E with his distinct voice, with his appeal to like the inner city? Like you knew Eazy-E's inside your town and things like that, but he epitomized that. I don't think he's a person that could be removed and you could just put somebody in his slot and things would have worked out the way they did, because you needed him for that, the streets. You needed that Eazy-E. He was the poster child for that. So I can't take Eazy out of that. And last but not least, I just identify more with the other guys. Like Eminem, sometimes with the subject matter, it just wasn't something that I would ever consider as too zany. Like all of I chopped my mother up. And no, sir, you're going a little too far. You know what I mean? Like that rhyme was great, but at the same time, I would never consider anything like this.
Yeah, I was saying Eminem was just like, I think you said more of a comedy guy with his songs. Like his approach was different, like comedy and all that. Like you heard spitting in the background, different sounds in the background. That was Eminem. So like he was just different with his, I guess you say, his wordplay and all that. But
yeah,
I listened to a lot of Eminem, man. Especially his first album, was it Slim Shady, LP, EP, whatever it was called. Yeah, I was a big fan of his original album. So.
Originally,
he had the LP and the EP actually. It's funny because I like the EP actually even more, which came out like I think it was a year or two before the LP came out. It was kind of underground though.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Detroit, man, have you been keeping up with BMF?
Yeah, I watch the television show. Yeah.
Like the new season.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, that's what's up, Phil. I got so many hip hop questions, man. But we'll get to those. I'm gonna delete those right there. But I think that was a nice, healthy episode, man. Anything else you guys have you want to say before we wrap this one up? And I'm gonna go ahead and get on these bets. I think Kate.
No, man. Just shout out to everybody that came through. I can't see everybody that was in the chat, but yeah, shout out to you, Will and Ty, man. Shelton too. Great episode.
As always, what about you, Ty? You got any last words? Make sure if you're still on that you hit the like and sub button before you head on out. Anything you want to say as far as anything you got coming up, or just any last words, Ty?
Yeah, you're not coming up, man. Just salute to you guys. Always a pleasure to come on, talk boxing. Salute to everybody in the chat. This is what we do. We come on here, and talk the sport that we love.
Absolutely. Shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Terrell Cameron. Also, shout out to Canelo for keeps being truthful. You understand what I'm saying about Terrence Bud Crawford resume?
Yeah, he ain't truthful about that tainted meat though.
Also, anytime that somebody loses to somebody, that don't mean that you can't listen to them about the person that they lost to. That's silly. You know what I'm saying? They might have some very good points about that person. So never limit your mind, when it comes to that sort of thing. Don't be at a deficit in life. You understand what I'm saying? You can learn from any and everyone. You understand me? So on that note, man, I just want to say you fellas have a great week. Vale, if I don't get a chance to touch base with you, man, you have a very good Independence Day weekend. Y'all do fireworks up there?
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons I like going up there, man, because it's like they shoot them off, man.
Is it fireworks or they shooting off them pistols? You know what I'm
A little bit of both, but most of the fireworks, they shooting them off, man. Like it's almost like they're having contests between neighborhoods that you see other streets far over, and you see them shooting there. Then you see another street. Like, I mean, I can shoot better one. They're shooting them up, trying to compete.
So competition. What about you, Ty? You doing anything for Independence Day?
Nah, actually, yeah, I'm actually scheduled to work. They want everybody on schedule. So I mean, as far as after work, not really sure, but yeah, I know I'm sure I'm gonna have a busy day at work. So probably nothing for me.
Stay away from that stuff, man. That ain't our day, man. We Juneteenth, all right? So you stay strong, man. But all right, fellas, y'all have a good rest of your week, man. It's good.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
Peace.